Yeah, so I just wanted to start off by acknowledging some friends of Add-ons. Sylvain, do you want to read out the first friend of Add-ons?
Sure. I would like to recognize Kumar for his work over the past few years. I think almost a decade, if I'm not mistaken, to Mozilla and the extensions ecosystem as a whole. Best of luck for his future endeavors.
Yeah, Kumar was one of the first people I met and interacted with. Well, actually, I met Kumar in 2016 at the All Hands, and I had only been here for 3 weeks, and I was really nervous about meeting people. And when I met him, I felt like things were going to be okay. So yeah, he'll definitely be missed. Hopefully we'll be able to keep in touch with him. I also want to recognize Jocelyn Lee as one of our friend of Add-ons. Jocelyn has been contributing to the front end of AMO since May 2018. So we're really excited to have her as a member of the community, and just wanted to give her a shout out for coming in and spending her time with us. So thanks so much, Jocelyn. And lastly, I do want to recognize everyone who's contributed to the Add-ons ecosystem in 2019. It's been a bit of a roller coaster of a year, and I'm personally really grateful that we have such a large and engaged community. So if you've been an add-on reviewer, if you've helped recommend extensions or vet extensions for the recommended program, contributed code to either the web extensions, API, or AMO, or one of our other projects, or notably helped out folks during some of the tough times, like when Armageddon happened earlier this year. We got a huge boost from the community during that. So I just want to say thank you for being a part of our community. It's a real honor to have you. And it's a real honor to be able to work with you. Thank you. All right, so I wanted to go over a couple of recent happenings. If you've been following the Add-ons blog, this is probably old information, but I thought I would just call it out. So we've got a new CSP for content scripts in extension. So if your extension uses content scripts, you're gonna have to reformat how that looks in your manifest JSON. This is part of a longer process to help us programmatically block remote code execution in extensions. So this is kind of the first of a couple of planned changes. Right now it is live in Firefox 72. It's behind preferences. So it's off by default. And our goal is sometime in 2020, Q1 2020, to turn it on by default. So if you have a chance, you should probably check out how your extension behaves under the new CSP for content scripts, and let us know how it goes and if you find any bugs. We would love to catch those before it goes on by default. The other bit of news is we're going to require two-factor authentication for developer accounts on AMO starting in pretty early in 2020, so sometime in January. This is 2FA is not going to be required if you use the command line to manage your extension. So if you use WebEx, you're not going to be, or any sort of like scripts that interact with the AMO API, AMO upload API, sorry. You're not going to be required for 2FA, but anything that you do through the AMO site itself will be under 2FA. So you can enable 2FA for your Firefox account like today if you want to go ahead and get ahead of that requirement. Otherwise, that'll be enforced starting early next year. And just as a side note, we do get a lot of emails from developers saying that they've been locked out of their account because they didn't print out their backup codes. It's super important to print out your backup codes. There is nothing we can do if you get locked out and don't have the backup codes. We are totally unable to help you in that situation. So pass that along to folks. So it looks like we've started work on removing support for sideloaded extensions. Jorge shared some really interesting information the other day. So this change is is currently in beta. Is that right, Jorge? Or it was in beta, but now we have a couple of numbers on release where it's read only. Yeah, and abuse reporting for extensions that I can't remove has gone, there's been a significant drop. So that was as expected. We are going to make some So enterprises will still be able to distribute sideloaded extensions, but they're going to have to enable some sort of policy in order to do that. So that's a little bit of a change from when we initially announced that we were removing the ability to distribute sideloaded extensions entirely. So that's exciting. And then just as a quick heads up to everyone that review times are going to slow down with the holidays approaching. So probably for the next 2 or so weeks, things are going to be a little slow around here just as people take time off for the end of the year. Any questions about any of that or other color that folks want to add?
I can say that I've tried the 2FA for my account. Works great. And as you said, keep your code safe to make sure that you don't get locked out of your account if there's something going on.
Awesome. I'm glad it works. All right, so we've got a couple of themes for 2020. So this is looking ahead to some of our work that we're going to be doing next year. So a lot of it's going to be kind of similar themes to what we saw in 2019 about deepening user trust, keeping users safe proactively. Some of the things that are going to be shifted a little bit is that we want to give users more choices on more platforms. So that's with regards to our divergences from Chrome's changes on Manifest v3. And then we also want to help content ecosystem. So I'll talk about that in a second. Hey, BJ.
Hi.
So for H1, we're looking to improve the add-on installation flow. Going to be exploring letting users control which extensions are enabling host permissions. Doing a little bit of new tab work, so choosing which extensions can override their new tab. We're going to continue with background service workers implementation, so that's part of the V3 changes. So be looking out for some communications from that in early Q1. At some point, we'll be flipping on that CSP for content scripts by default. And then one thing that I kind of wanted to flag for the community is that we're going to be researching monetization options for extension developers for Firefox. So we know that Chrome allows some sort of like micropayment system to happen, or maybe it's not a micropayment system, but Chrome allows developers provide like some additional monetization features. And so that's kind of the thing that we're interested in exploring, like how can we help developers gain revenue? So we're going to be starting on some research projects with that. If you have any thoughts about this, or if you'd like to share what you're currently experiencing or what you would like to be able to experience in some sort of ideal future state, please talk to us. We'd love to hear your thoughts, especially as we're just starting in the exploratory phase of that. And then finally, we'll be cleaning up and enabling some content optimization and submission flow changes. So some of that is going to be like enforcing character counts on extension titles and summaries. We had done a lot of work on this at the end of 2018 and then had to put that work to the side in 2019 when we had to focus on security issues. So you may have seen some iterations of this in the past. We're going to be looking at revisiting kind of how that information gets presented to developers and seeing if we can resurrect any of that stuff. But as far as implementing this in AMO, that's going to be happening in early 2020 as well. So that's kind of what we're looking forward to. Any questions about 2020 and where we're headed? Kind of want to call it like Cotton-Eyed Joe, like where did you come from? Where did you go? Maybe that's just early morning brain. That's probably just some early morning free association in the brain happening right there. Yeah, so that'll be good. Yeah, and then as those projects kind of move forward, or as we have a little bit more detail to share about some of those projects, we can definitely share those in future community calls. Okay, I want to turn it over to Sylvain, who added a note there.
Cool. As you probably know, unless you're living under a rock, V3 is coming next week for web extensions on Chrome and Firefox. And so tomorrow at the Add-on Show and Tell, which is at 7:30 a.m. Pacific time, I'll talk a little bit, some minutes, about service workers, which is a big part of changes that are happening on Manifest V3. If you want to join us, feel free to do so, and it should be interesting.
Yeah, I'm excited to see some of what you've seen with the V3 service workers. Good times. Good times for everyone.
Yeah.
So that add-on show and tell is tomorrow at 15:30 UTC or 7:30 Pacific time. You can find call-in information on the agenda, which is linked in this document. You can also sign up for a 5-minute show and tell slot if you've got an add-ons project that you want to share. So anything that you're working on that's related to add-ons is welcome at this meeting. And that's the next event upcoming. After that, at the end of January, a bunch of us will be going to the Mozilla All Hands in Berlin. We will be doing some probably, well, it's going to be interesting. Jorge, do you have a sense of like what Berlin's going to be like, since we've already kind of figured out our Q1 plans? Is it mostly just going to be implementation tactics?
Well, I think, we'll be talking about 2020 a lot. Like we have some initial plans of what we're doing next year, like you mentioned. But there are some changes coming to that just because we're transitioning between CEOs at the moment. And that means that our priorities might shift a bit. I think we'll probably talk a little bit about Q2 and the second half of the year. I don't think we'll necessarily get into a lot of specifics about what's happening in Q1, because that's already kind of set out to start, and we would already be a month into Q1 or at that point. But yeah, I think it's going to be more like the rest of the year, how that's going to look like.
Okay, that makes sense. So yeah, we'll be sure to take some pictures of Sylvain wearing a t-shirt and me wearing 4 coats. And yeah, so at this time, I would just like to open up the floor to any other questions or topics that anyone would like to discuss. Oh, BJ, I think you're muted. Yeah, we missed all that.
I now have a canned message that I use to reject an add-on that I suspect is going to be replaced 24 hours later with malware. And I've used it several times and no one's objected to it. There was one funny one where I rejected one because I thought they were going to change it to malware on the 12th, and on the 17th, they went and actually uploaded malware on it. So I just rejected it again. So I don't think they understand it. If I ever get it wrong, hopefully my apology in there will be enough and the developer will come back and explain why it's not going to be malware, but it hasn't happened yet.
Do you want to share what that canned response is and just send it over to us, or send us a link of one of the ones that we've used it on?
Okay, let me find the right meeting. Yes, full screen. So where's my browser?
Oh yeah, you have to like go up to view and do the exit full screen thing.
There's one I used it on.
Okay, cool. Can take a look at that. Yeah, I think so. This is not Flash.
It wasn't called Flash Player the first time. It was something else. I forget what it was. They changed the name when they uploaded the second version.
Okay.
I got a question regarding this. Are we art blocking those extensions only when they actually upload a malware, or are we doing it before?
I rejected it. I didn't do anything else. I didn't do a block request because the second one was rejected before the 24 hours was up. So I thought that meant they can't download it.
Yeah, as long as it isn't signed, then there shouldn't be any risk and we don't need to block it.
All right.
That's good to know. I will take a closer look at that, because maybe what we need to do, like maybe something we can do is add this canned response into our canned responses table, since this seems to be ongoing. The other thing I wanted to do for 2020, and I apologize for not getting to it in 2019, is get some more content reviewers. So BJ, maybe we could just find some time to talk about like how we can I kind of want to download your brain a little bit, because I think you've been the person who's like most involved in actually, like, you have the best sense, I think, of what's happening on the ground, and then figure out how to, and then I can go out and recruit some more people or get them onboarded into the system. That would be awesome if you have the time to do that.
Sure, that'd be great.
Okay, awesome. All right. Anything else? All right, well, excellent. Well, so everyone, we are going to meet again in January. We had a meeting scheduled, I think, on January 1st, so we will not be meeting on January 1st to celebrate the new year. So I'll see you, I think, let me just double check the calendar really quickly. But we should be seeing everyone again January 15th. So feel free to reach out before then. That's a long time. I'll miss all of your faces. And have a great rest of 2019. And thanks again for being part of our community.
Thank you.
All right, bye everyone.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.